Okay, right, let's do an update on the Max Nano. So this will be officially 4.5 months in from the very start, and I thought I've got to do an update so we can get on record the size of these coral frags so we can see the growth as the months go on. So everything's going good after our big leak. If you've watched the previous video on the channel, I had a big leak. That's all cleared up and dried up now, and everything's going good. We've installed our new dosing system, and we're keeping everything a little bit more stable now. Really hard to keep this tank stable, these little nanos, to keep the parameters stable. Mainly alkalinity is the big one to try and keep around the number you want to keep, which for me is 9 DKH on this. And yeah, before the doser it was swinging as I was having to manually dose it. Alk figures I test daily, it's sort of up and down all over the shop, which is not ideal, especially in an SPS reef tank. You want to keep the number, pick a number and stick with it and try and keep it as rock steady there as possible. And if you can do that, as long as your nutrients, your lighting, your flow and everything's good, you should have good success and good growth. So now the dose is on, we are keeping a fairly steady number. It's hard to, I'm just fine tuning the doser now, just to sort of get the right amount of what's consuming, but obviously it's changing all the time. As you're adding new coral frags, you know, demand goes up, so you're constantly having to fine tune the doser. But that's what this game's all about, is just keeping the numbers steady. We've added a couple more coral frags, SPS coral frags to the system down here, like I always do in every video. I'll get the camera off the tripod and show you in a second. But yeah, 2 more coral frags have gone in, and yeah, all good. I've got the AI Prime set to every channel 100% because, as you know, videoing marine tanks or reef tanks with them all into blue, it doesn't really pick up properly and just looks a bit of a wash of blue. I am quite impressed so far with this new schedule that I'm using. I'm using the BRS AB Plus, and there's a guy on the Facebook forum, the Max Nano Facebook forum, Drew. Big thumbs up to Drew. I've used his schedule that he's got on the forum. So if you go on the Facebook forum and look in file uploads, you can see his schedule there. It's Drew's AB Plus Evening Blues, I think it is, so check that out. I'm using that, I've modded it a little bit. I think it's a little bit long, the schedule, so I've cut the light time, the cycle time down to come on a little bit later in the morning. But yeah, the Evening Blues are really good, especially now there's coral in here. You can see that they really pop it in the evenings, through the day as well, but in the evening the white drops off as well and it sort of glows nicely. So I'm warming to the AI. As you guys know, if you've been following the channel, I'm a Kessel guy, and my intentions were to switch this AI Prime out for a Kessel, but we're gonna roll with it. We're seeing some growth, which is what I wanted to see. Is if I could see good growth with this Prime, then I'll stick with it, persevere with it. But we'll see what happens. What the proof will be in the pudding when we put the more sensitive SPS corals in the acros in up towards the top of the tank to see how they react to it. But you know, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting really to see how it performs. But yeah, everything going good. We've done quite a few modifications to the tank, which I'm going to run through in the next video. I'm not going to go through too much on this video what we've done change-wise modifications. I'm going to do a costing and from the start of what the whole system's cost me in the next video. So we do the official costing video, which I know you should never talk about because it is expensive, this game. But a lot of people are asking how much would it cost to set up a little nano tank. So I'm going to do a costing of what this tank's cost me, listing everything all through. So that'll be the next one to look out for. So I'm going to get the camera off the tripod, show you around the tank, like I always do. So I'm hoping, what I'm going to get is one of these filters that you can get on. My LFS has got a really good filter you can clip on to the smartphone, which will, so you can see inside the tank better when the blues are on. But at the moment I've just jacked everything up to sort of more of a white light so you can see. But the corals don't look their best when it's so white. But you'll be able to get an idea of what we've got in here, and at the growth stage it's at the moment, the size it's at the moment. Obviously, as you watch the videos, as we progress through, you'll see them increase and erupt some new branches. So here we go. We're 5 minutes into the video. Try and keep these videos nice and short, because they're a bit lengthy otherwise. Okay. So let's start with the purple stylo right at the top of the tank. Was the first SPS coral to go in. That is we've definitely got growth on that. If you check back on the last 3-month update, when I put this in, we definitely only had four branches. We're now, that one on the left, back left, is splitting into 2, so into 5 branches. I think the one at the front is just starting to split as well. So you can't really tell on camera what the colour it is. It looks dark, a lot nice darker purple to the naked eye. So on camera it looks a bit washed out, but no, it's doing very well. All the polyps are out and we're getting growth, so that's all good. So the next one I put in was this barley slimer, and this is now encrusting all around the frag plug, and it's actually shooting out new little shoots here, as you can see. So I suspect that on the left there will be a new branch. Also around the back, if I can try and focus in, we've got new shoots starting at the base there as well. Slowly but surely, but considering we've had such an outswing up and down, it's done quite well so far. And soft coral wise, we've got this GSP on the back, which has taken a while to take off. I think it's because it looks crap on camera, but under the AB+, the Drew's AB+ Evening Blues schedule, it looks really good, glows lovely. It's, yeah, so it's taken a while, and I think it's because my nutrients are quite low. My nitrates are always hovering around 0 to 2 ppm. The phosphates virtually undetectable. The next one is the pulse coral, which is doing really well. That is definitely increased in size, got multiple new heads, and it's starting to split and spread around this frag plug, or this dedicated rock that I've got it on in the centre of the tank. We need to keep it there as well. We don't want it to spread into the main bulk of rock. But that's going to look good when it's sort of maybe twice that size, pulsing away in the centre. It's one of my favourite corals, one of the most basic corals. A lot of people think it's a bit of a pest coral because it can spread everywhere, but as long as you keep it contained, same with the GSP, keep it contained off the main display rock, you can add a whole new dimension to a reef tank. So that's doing really well. So next, the 2 new coral frags that we went for is another favourite of mine, which is the pink Hystrix. That's a nice, probably one of the best little frags I've had actually, with multiple new sprouts on it. And I think since it's been in here, it's only been in here a week, and I've noticed that the spikes are, the tips are definitely erupting and getting that little bit longer and splitting into sort of new ones. But yeah, it's a lovely frag that. That's going to end up being a really nice colony. So go back to auto focus, and this is the other one, which is a limeberry Hystrix. Never had one of these ones before, so it's so tiny you can't really tell what's the colours of it really yet, especially under this light. But that's going to end up being a nice frag as well. Again, lovely frag, got loads, multiple new tips erupting. Back to autofocus again. Still getting used to this new smartphone actually, and how to film and get the best out of it really. But it's going to be much better once I get this filter on it. So that's Lineberry hystrix. So we've got, let's go back to autofocus. So we've got a few frags in here now. We've got like what, 4 SPS frags and 2 softies, and it's all, they're all growing. So far so good, and I suspect now that we've got everything, the more stable I can keep these parameters, mainly the ALK, we should get some good growth on them. So over the next couple of weeks we're going to add in another wave pump to the other side, just so we can get some alternate flow in here. So at the moment it's all a bit one way, and that's another key point, is flow, making sure you've got random chaotic flow within the tank. So at the moment it's all sort of a little bit one way. Down in the cabinet, this is the new dosing system. If you haven't watched the previous video, TMC Easy Dose 3-channel doser. Annoyingly, in the week we had a little bit of a drop off of calcium. Actually dropped down to about 300, and I was thinking, what's going on? It's strange, because I'm dosing equal parts, obviously the right ratio should I say, on the Reef Foundation, and discovered that the calcium line had got an airlock in it. It wasn't dosing correctly. So you've got to check that. It's another thing you've got to check every day. It's making sure that your dosing system is dosing right. There's no problems with the dose lines. Nothing's locked up or anything, or got blocked. And that's the containers. Nice and neat. And the tank behind is obviously the RO top off, which is 25 litres. Absolute godsend, that Tunzi osmolator. RO top up. And this tank, you just set and forget really. Just make sure you don't get the RO line, the return line, in the water if you're doing any maintenance, because you're going to have a flood like if you watch my previous video. We're dosing a little bit of the coral colours, the trace elements as well, the A, B, C, D, and we're also doing the Red Sea Reef Energy, just 1 mil a day of A and B of Reef Energy. All the fish doing good. 2 clowns. So they're not really, both still very similar in size. Usually by this stage, one usually gets pretty much bigger than the other one, which will become the female. I think one is slightly bigger. I think this one here is the female. That's the male at the back. This seems to be their layer, this little corner. Kupang damsel. He's a bit of a shit. He seems to think he owns the whole real estate of this rock. Well, he does, because there's any other fish in here. So he doesn't really interact with the clowns too much. This is their layer, so he doesn't come around here. But the rest of it he dominates. And the cleaner shrimp. It's all doing good. Sheds his skin every 2 or 3 weeks. Not much bigger. Brilliant addition he is. And this conch is doing a fantastic job keeping the sand all nice and clean. Having said that, I don't really get much diatoms now. He does climb the rocks at night. He climbs right up. Starts cleaning them off. I have added a Mexican turbo snail, which again is awesome piece of clean up crew. So I don't think really anything competes with that for stripping algae, because I do get this reoccurring hair algae on this GSP, which he cleans off every couple of days, which is good. So eventually that should go, but there's a normal turbo snail just plodding along. They don't do a lot, to be honest. And a blue leg hermit crab, who's behaving himself as well. Which they can be buggers for moving corals and bits and bobs about, but no, he's not too bad. I've actually moved my controllers. If you've been following the videos, you know that I had them all on the side here. So I've actually removed them now from here, and I've actually taken the film off the side so I can actually see inside. Can't really see, but I can actually see inside the tank, so I'm not doing any work in the rear sump. I can see the pump, I can see everything that's going on and where stuff is. That's the dosing manifold, full lines, and the RO top up. Skimmer doing brilliantly. It's probably the only stock piece of equipment still on this tank. It's just, I've no reason to change it. It's just we're getting this foam consistently all the time. Really nice foam. It's obviously doing its job very well. It's a little bit noisy. When they first fire up and the tank's new, they are really noisy. But as they bed in, obviously you get a bit of bi-load going on. It's they do quieten down, but again it is quite noisy. And the main noise comes from cascading water from the return. That's how I've got the height of my skimmer. So it's just a little bit down off that nib there. I also have removed the film from this side so I can actually see when the filter sock needs replacing. But having said that, I do that daily. Every morning I change out for a new sock, and I'm using 100 micron socks as well, just to keep the water really nice and polished. Not using any sponges, stripped all sponges out because they're just nitrate factories. So not as quiet as it could be, but I'd rather have you know, no places where detritus can sort of building up. So the controls I've moved up to up here. I'm going to add the other wave pump controller, probably this side, and if I change the lighting out, probably the spectral controller of the Kessel will go this side. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how the old AI gets on. But as always, try and keep the video short, but we're only 17 plus minutes in. I just want to say, if you know, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also check out my son's channel. He also does the same thing as me with his nano tank, and he needs the subscribers, so check his channel out. It's Corey Willard on YouTube, and so subscribe to his channel. He does some interesting stuff. He's got a cracking little Fluval Evo 52 litre, which is really maturing well now, as he's starting to add more corals, and it's just looking fantastic. So check that out. It's Corey Willard, and I shall catch you guys in the next update, or the next video, which I'm going to do a costing most probably. Any questions you got, chuck them in the box below as always, and I'll catch you in the next one.